I'm so impressed with your career. You've worked with some of the most amazing fashion houses. We know the names Armani, Valentino, the Gucci Group. You've been with YSL. What was it like to contribute to some of those amazing brands?
Hey guys, welcome to Millionaire Brand Creation. I'm your host, Michael Banovac, and I'm very excited to have a friend of mine on today, Mark Pomerantz. Mark holds a degree in menswear design and tailoring and international trade and fashion marketing from the Fashion Institute of Technology, studying in New York City and Rome with contributions to Giorgio Armani, Valentino, Yves Saint Laurent, Calvin Klein, and many other great brands. And more importantly, he is a menswear designer himself and has a beautiful showroom in Newport Beach, and also showcases his pieces in New York and Arizona now and beyond. And I wanted to get him on to kind of hear his story and, more importantly, educate us on menswear fashion and how we could look better. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm good this morning. Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you so much for coming on. And Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into this business at an earlier age.
Yeah, I'd love to. What got me into the clothing business, I'd always enjoyed dressing well, but never connected that could be a career pathway for me. But if I look back to as young of an age as I can remember, one thing that I was always very passionate about was understanding what makes something the best, regardless of what that was, whether it was a consumable or a culinary dish or the silverware on my parents' table. I wanted to understand what made it the best. And as I got a little bit older and recognized my professional potential, I created a formula to diagnose and understand that, which is three parts. To make something the best, you need to understand the process of what makes it what it is, the ingredients of what goes into making it what it is, and the provenance of what goes into making it what it is. And those three things, I think, paired with my increasingly rapid taste for clothing, is how I decided, I wanted to get into the business. And I was initially attracted to the allure and glamour of luxury goods, designer clothing, perhaps in one of more recent decades, golden eras of design, which was like the late 90s, early 2000s, when the luxury market was really emerging. But I was pointed out by some mentors of mine that those products are not inherently the highest quality relative to the price point that they are charged at. And so then I got into understanding more tailoring and brands like Brioni and Keton and the companies like that, and realized those were just utterly boring. So I wanted to marry those worlds together. I knew that I always wanted to have my own fashion line, but I wanted to do something that was meaningful and authentic, both to my design sensibility, but also my passion for making something the very best it could be. The thesis of the Mark Pomerantz brand is we marry those worlds of the tailor-made, the fit, the fabric, and the craft with the attention to detail and the aesthetic perspective that you get from very fine designer category clothing.
Yeah, and basically, this podcast was kind of to delve deeper into the stories of luxury and how does one curate their brand. And I wrote a book in relationships in 2017. And I think one of the most important iterations and curations of your personal brand is how other people perceive you. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of clothing and what you learned, through your schooling and through your experiences with these amazing brands that you work with?
One thing that we like to do, and I like to do at Mark Pomerantz brand, especially with our clients, is help them define and understand and then execute a signature aesthetic, especially in a post-COVID era. That signature aesthetic is perhaps a little bit more flexible from what it used to be in menswear specifically, which was the power suit is the power suit, and there's different shades and different colors and different silhouettes that communicate different things. And that's all you need. Those are the only quivers you need to successfully shoot your bow and arrow. While that's still an important vertical in menswear, there are so many other ways that we can communicate a message that's both on brand, that is not casual, but is not always dressed up in the three-piece suit and tie. So there's strategies and techniques both with texture and color and silhouette. And then again, helping someone really understand what is the most comfortable way for me to develop my aesthetic. Because we found while many guys just felt it was requisite to wear a suit every day, didn't really need to. And that didn't mean that they were always performing at their best. It's when they felt that they needed to or wanted to is when they pulled that suit. And so helping them fill the vocabulary of the gaps in between, even on like a Zoom call, they go, now I can confidently feel appropriate for myself. I don't even really care what the external or internal Zoom viewer is viewing me. It starts from within, but I feel confident. I therefore look confident. I compose myself and my thoughts more confidently. And then when I turn that computer off and have to go to an on-site or an off-site or have someone walk in my office, I now am dialed in a way for that day with that aesthetic that can transition me across a wide range of business wear and personal image now.
100%. And it's almost filling those gaps that men have the hardest part with, right? They're either good at casual wear, good at formal wear, and it's the in between that usually a lot of them have problems with.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say it's a very diverse and complex style equation today. To look dressed up, but not look casual.
Right. Can you take us back in time about in when you were in New York and your schooling and you know, how that transpired for you?
I was always approached it from the impression that if I will have success in this business artistically, that taste will be innate inside of me and it will develop and cultivate through the normal ways that an artist would matriculate and challenge themselves. So that's why I chose to really master making clothing. I wanted to go specifically to the program I did. They only accepted 40 students a year. We ended up graduating 18. So it was very rigorous, but I probably spent the better part of 100 hours a week the first 2 semesters making clothing. And I didn't really care how artistic my pencil to paper was, how I could color the garments in. I wanted to understand pattern making, sewing, craft, and technique. And I would just sit at the machine and sit with my drafting materials and make clothing. And fundamentally, that was how I challenged myself to really master the foundation of my industry. And I would trust that I'd find other ways to express myself artistically, but I did not want to go to more design-driven schools. Not that FIT wasn't, but I didn't want to go to more, say, you know, fine arts programs because that just wasn't what I was looking to enhance. I wanted to enhance understanding the craft of making clothes.
And after you understood that craft, what was your next step after school?
That's a good question. So during school, I was also very active in my professional community. So I had an internship the second week that I got to school that was entirely unrelated to my education or requirements of my curriculum. I just figured if I'm giving up conventional university to go to New York, I am pursuing a path very intentionally, and I am here to be intentional. So, you know, 2 weeks after I landed, I literally sent a fax every day to the PR office at Valentina North America. And finally, after like a month, my then boss, Dennis Wong, called me from Paris, and he's like, is this the guy that sends me all these faxes every day? This is quite a while ago. Faxes were still a thing. And he's like, if you're not in my office tomorrow morning at 8:30, like you're never going to work in the city again. And I was like, okay, I got it. And that's just how I started tenaciously. I was very fortunate to have opportunities like that, to be persistent. My actual illustration professor, who is a very dear and beloved friend of mine, Barbara Fox, and a legend in the industry, she got me an internship and a position in the Purple Label offices at Ralph Lauren. Just, again, seeing potential and seeing passion and seeing purpose. And that, you know, that's what I did. So I was always working through school. I was always wanting to build outside of my curriculum, making clothing. I wanted to touch areas of the industry outside of design. I wanted to understand the entire life cycle of my industry's product. I even stalked the flagship store of Zara for a season during Christmas. I want to see how that type of brand functioned, stock rooms and stocking and sales. I wanted to understand PR, buying, you name it. So until I got closer to graduating, I didn't touch design room work and just focused on learning design and tailoring. Then when I graduated, you know, I worked for some of these houses in a design capacity. I spent time apprenticing and learning my craft in Italy from a more provincial standpoint. And then, you know, I set out to establish my namesake brand.
And tell us a little bit about the business of curating your brand. Because I know when we talked about, when we met actually last Wednesday at a beautiful event that you were spearheading, by the way, it was very well done. I think we noticed in one another attention to detail, right? Your card is elegant, your watch, your suits, everything is curated really well. And that's kind of the watcher of this podcast is how do you curate an elegant brand? And how do you go about doing that with your personal namesake and your business? How did you start from scratch in doing that?
Wow, that's a deep question. Details matter. That's maybe more of a subjective answer for the individual watcher, but don't overlook any detail. If you want to be a successful brand, I personally, from my own experience, so I can only speak anecdotally, but details matter. There's no stone unturned. I could tell you the thread number and supplier and the way every single sewing thread is made in our garment that you'll never even see or touch. Beyond just your business card, beyond just aligning yourselves with like-minded, detail-oriented people or places. You know, if you're hosting a dinner and you're putting bok choy on the table, what shade of green do you want it to be? That level of detail. You know, I take a lot of detail-oriented inspiration from Michelin fine dining. I think it's fascinating, you know, how they actually create kitchen tools to execute the vision of a dish a chef has, down to, you know, the stemware that they use, the plates that they use is oftentimes created for those dishes, is put down on the table without you knowing it, with the logo of the restaurant all in the same direction. Like, so that level of detail I just find fascinating. And I like to obviously matriculate into my own brand. I think kind of objectively, you have to find what you stand for. You have to kind of know what is it that would make you ubiquitous. And whether that's a process or a precise item or project or aesthetic, whatever that might be. You know, Valentino is ubiquitous for the red gown, right? You know, find your ubiquity. Ralph Lauren is modern Americana, right? How do we keep pursuing things the very best way in a very specific formula that honors those process, provenance, and ingredients, but always moves them forward in parallel? We never move one forward at the expense of moving one back. Even if we have to keep everything stagnant, it has to all push forward at the same time. Find your voice, find what it is that your ubiquity would stand for, and then just laser focus around that.
So after you were in Italy, how did you translate and or, you know, decide, okay, I want to be in Newport Beach, open up my showroom, etc. How did you go about doing that and the steps you took to accomplish that goal?
I'm from Newport Beach, so I had a network and a support group here with my friends and family, and it just was the right place to start doing this. I think if I had stayed in New York, I just would have been a very lonely endeavor as an entrepreneur and an artist to start a brand. And I wanted to be where I was most comfortable. And that for me that was part of that authenticity. Is I did not need to say I'm in Milan or I'm in New York. I needed to be successful. So I wanted to be in an environment that I know would foster my success. And, you know, 3 years later, I opened an office in New York and a showroom. And so I returned to the conventional cities, but that might not have happened had I not gone to where I felt I could be myself. And that's very important, especially as an artist.
Now, behind the scenes always interests me, since like Tom Ford has always been an inspiration of mine because I really like that monochromatic look. That's always been my aesthetic, right? And even Ralph Lipschitz, Ralph Lauren, right? I mean, did you have a chance to meet him when you worked with Purple Label? Because I love the construct of creating the dream, right? Creating the movie for your life. Can you touch upon how your brand does that, where you touch upon, you know, I want the best, I want to curate the best for my clients. How do you create a narrative that resonates with your buyer pool?
Very good questions. Mark Pomerantz is kind of an idea, and it's a promise. You can be Mark Pomerantz as much as I can be Mark Pomerantz, as much as I also happen to have the name Mark Pomerantz. But Mark Pomerantz stands for something. Our clients are our movie stars, right? I'm not trying to create or direct their narrative. I want to play a part in the narrative that they already see themselves in. I want to be an enhancement, not the co-star, right? So that's what comes back to helping you develop that signature aesthetic. While the House of Mark Pomerantz has its own aesthetic values and principles, you're not coming in with your own ingredients. You're using our ingredients, but we're turning them into something that is uniquely yours, but that you're proud to say, this is Mark Pomerantz. So I think that's a very unique construct in that there's really no place you can go buy clothing. You can't go to Tom Ford and work with Tom Ford. At Mark Pomerantz, you work with Mark Pomerantz. So you get to work with the designer and the artist and the tailor. And for someone who's really looking to make an authentic impact in the categories in which we can help you in, I couldn't see why you wouldn't come here, short of, just not being prepared to afford our prices, candidly. But other than that, we'll help you with one item. So we really want to help people find the very best they can. And we believe that, that we are out there finding the best we can and doing things the best way we can. We'll never acquiesce quality. I don't know, did that answer the question?
It did, yeah. And it makes me curious because, your brand obviously is catered to the higher echelon clientele, and you're dealing with, a higher network of individuals with I would say, more astute aesthetic. What is the best way that you have seen in your business that has moved the needle to getting the clients that you like and that resonate with your brand, right? Has it been print advertising, celebrity endorsements, magazines, curating your own personal brand? What has been the most successful way, word of mouth, etc., that has moved your personal brand and your business forward?
I think it's staying true to our connoisseurship. The thing that unifies all of our clients, regardless of age or income or industry, is they're connoisseurs. I'm happy to have someone come through the door and go, I found out about you, or I connected with you, and although my last shirt was $145 at Suit Supply, I'm willing to try yours at $350 because I get what you're doing, even if I don't understand how it's done, as much as the guy who wants to come in and buy $100,000 Vicuña suit. So it's about, and they're doing that not just because we have Vicuña, while we are one of the only places that does. It's because of the way we tailor the fabric and design the clothing and create our pattern. So I think it's connoisseurship is the main thread that unifies everything together. We've been fortunate that we can stay true to that and become more of a magnet. I wish I had a better external marketing department, but because we can grow, but we might grow too fast had we done that. We are very deliberately private client, and working with the House of Mark Pomerantz is a very collaborative approach with myself and with my team. So we can only authentically offer so many of our resources to so many people at one time. Network marketing has always been the best, referral, like-minded individuals, putting together connoisseur-driven events like the one you attended last week. So seeing who we can attract with the magnets that we put out.
So when you look back on your career thus far, was there a piece of advice that you heard or you learned from a benefactor or someone that was a mentor of yours that you could share with the audience?
Become a master of one thing and then reinvent it on your own. That was something innately that I'd wanted to do, but that was certainly advice I was given by many people in many ways. Like, if this is your path, don't go to college. Get a degree, but get a design degree. Pursue that. You'll regret not having done that and being further behind if you didn't. You want to understand tailoring first? Become a tailor. Master tailoring. Don't master knitwear and textile science and costume history. Master tailoring, which I'm always remastering myself, but looking back now 20 years, something other related to tailoring makes its influence in our design aesthetic and every product that we sell, including our sweaters or our belts. That mastery had purpose beyond just the tailored product itself. I think I was also given advice on the private client end by someone that was like, Mark, you need to understand how powerful your relationships are with your clients. I don't remember who sold me my kitchen stove. That was a $50,000 purchase. I kind of know the guy I bought my Ferrari from or my Mercedes from, but like they've never stood in my closet and measured my crotch. It's like, he's like, I know who my realtor is, but I'm not an active real estate buyer. I have my homestead and goodbye. He goes, every time I walk into my closet, I have an emotional and visceral response to your clothing, whether it's good or bad. Thankfully, it's good. So you are in the heads and hearts and homes of your clients every day, whether you like it or not. And that is a powerful sales tool. I interpreted that for what it was, but also this is another area we can continue to invest in things that are the best. Our hangers are entirely unique and designed by us in-house, and they hang in your closet. And we have clients who go, I want to buy more of your hangers. I go, the only way to get a Mark Pomerantz hanger is to buy a Mark Pomerantz garment. They're that special. And they're like, crap. But that's great because they get it, and that instantaneously, even that, they have a response to go, gosh, I love that item. Gosh, I want to put that on it. I can't wait to put that on. This makes me more me. And when I'm more me, I'm a better dad. I'm a better husband. I'm a better business person. I'm a better dragon slayer. I'm a better whatever it is. So it's not just you helped me, styled me right. I like that item. It's all of those things, and understanding there's this powerful closet presence that is as if you were sitting on the couch with your therapist every morning.
That's very true. I mean, clothes occupy what, 90% of your body. So you better make sure that they are indicative of your personal brand. And in saying that, from 18 to 80, what are a couple of points that you could share with the audience if they're not into fashion or they're unaware of it or they don't know where to even begin? Where would you recommend that they begin to curate their style, to curate an emotional response to themselves and to the outside world?
I would start by going shopping wherever you want to go, regardless, and maybe not even consider capacity of consumership, just as an exercise to develop a more robust vocabulary of what you like and don't like, and don't let salespeople influence you. Just go shopping for yourself and just try things on, touch things, see how things drape on you, silhouettes, textural color, and just make some mental notes. And then do that at a designer brand, a tailoring brand, do that at a casual wear brand, and get a diverse range. And then start to think about why you like what you like. And then start to question or feel questions about that from experts, and find the highest caliber access to an expert you can to get that answer.
Great. That's a great response. It's almost a curation of that brand, right? Creating Mark Pomerantz, obviously that's your namesake. That is your personal brand. You want it to have a visceral, emotional response with your clientele, right? That's why every little detail matters, right? And these names, like you say, become ubiquitous with elegance, with style, with taste, right? When you say Patek Philippe or Lange or, Opus or whatever it is, right? You know exactly what you're getting. How do you take Mark Pomerantz and get that into the psyche of individuals so they know the moment that they walk into your showroom or put on a garment, they feel good and they feel quality and luxury?
There was a magic bullet for that answer. I would be a gazillionaire training other people how to find that bullet. Michael, that used to frustrate me to no end. I'm an Aries. I'm still young, younger at heart than in age, but I'm still young in age. And with the time that passes, I take comfort and poise in maturity and understanding. Sometimes it just takes time. You have to just keep going back to that question you asked me earlier. Never steer away from your North Star. Never stop finding your North Star. Never be satisfied that you found it. You might have an aha moment and go, this is definitely the wind that my ship blows best in, but keep improving the sail. Keep challenging the status quo, but do it in that very narrow, specific vertical that is your ubiquity and your superpower. And then just give it time. You can tell as many people as you want about it, but not everyone's going to get what you do to a point where you can even answer them from an educated perspective. If someone goes, why should I buy your suit and not a Tom Ford suit? that's maybe not the best way to phrase a question from someone who's truly curious. So there's nothing that I can do to market or inform or explain to someone that wants to be a little bit more defensive than proactively offensive and go, well, I really think those suits are nice. And I really think maybe your suits are nice from what I know about suits. Tell me why they're different. Show me why they're different. And then, in our brand's case, taste matters. I'm not saying that there's one best taste. I honor Tom Ford's taste. I honor Ralph Lauren's taste. I honor my taste. They're all a little bit different. These are all very fine brands that all make very fine clothing. So taste matters, staying true to your own taste. That brings a gravitas to that as well. So
I couldn't agree more. What is a good way for individuals and watchers to follow you, to get to know you better, to possibly look at your brand? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. All roads lead to Mark. So any or all contact communications will get to me quickly and immediately. And that's just part of the value and promise of running a very, very authentic private client business is if our clients want to communicate at 1 a.m, we have a way to do that with them, because that's when they're in tune. So we need to be in tune to that. Visually, markpomerantz.com is a great resource to see more of our assortment, more of our brand story, more of how we work with clients. And then our Instagram tells a little bit more of a current visual tale of who we are and what we do.
And then for Arizona potential clients, when will you be back here and where could they possibly see your products in person?
I appreciate you asking that. I will be back December 4th through 6th or 7th. And then I will be back again January 8th through 10th or 11th. And then again for the Barrett-Jackson Gala, the 21st, and a few days after that. And then I will be in the Arizona market about a week a month, every month through May, no matter what. I just don't have the other dates set yet. At the moment, we're operating at the location of your request, if that's convenient, or operating out of the Ondas off Scottsdale Road, which has just been a very convenient location, both geographically in the city and also the way that the bungalows are set up there. I can take one whole private room and set it up like our showroom, and it's easy for people to park behind it and not have to go through the lobby. So the access feels like you're just coming to my private little studio at the Ondas. I think big picture, we'd like to open up a formal kind of miniature studio and showroom, maybe in the fall or second half of next year. So all of the support we can get in that market will help us get there sooner than later.
I love it. And then lastly, your showroom in Newport Beach, where is that located?
That's our headquarters. This is where we have our formal design headquarters in Atelier, where we do all of the product and design development. We manufacture most everything in the north of Italy, and then things come back in here for some proprietary hand finishing and detail work. And then the other half of our headquarters here is our showroom, which is open to any customer. We have clients who love to fly in from all over the country and have that experience here. There's a lot of overlap between the 3 biggest markets we serve. I see New York people here. I see Newport people in New York. I see San Francisco people in Newport. I see Arizona people. And so it's good synergy, but you're always welcome to make an appointment to meet with us here. We are by appointment, but that's not to be exclusionary. It's just to make sure that we can set up and matriculate people the way we like to do it versus just walking in through the door. But if the door's unlocked, we're open.
And then follow Mark at Mark Pomerantz on Instagram. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. And I look forward to seeing you again when you're back here in Arizona in the coming weeks.
Me too. I can't wait to be there. It's an adjacent home market to me now. So
absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you, Mark. Have a good one.
Thanks, Michael. You too. Bye-bye.